The live animal export industry is in damage control. Amid revelations, thousands of sheep have died in inhumane conditions on ships bound for the Middle East. The federal government and opposition are resisting calls for an immediate ban after confronting footage of sheep in appalling conditions was broadcast on Channel 9's 60 Minutes. A warning, the following vision could upset some viewers. The footage shows thousands of distressed sheep in overcrowded conditions, with claims more than 800 sheep died on a single day on the Awasi Express during a trip to the Middle East last August. The same ship is currently being blocked from leaving Fremantle amid ongoing welfare concerns. The Federal Agriculture Minister, David Littleproud, has weighed in, imposing stricter conditions, including access to veterinary care and independent observers. But animal rights activists say it's not enough and want an immediate ban on live shipments until we can be certain no other animal will suffer in such conditions. Simon Westaway is the boss of the Australian Livestock Exporters Council, and he says Australia has the best standards for livestock export in the world. He joined me from our studio in Melbourne. Simon Westaway, thank you for joining The Business.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Simon, these were horrific images. It's now clear that this is an industry that profits off the torture and death, slow deaths of these animals. Isn't that too high a price for Australia to be paying?
Well, no, it's not too high a price. As the industry body that oversees our close to $2 billion sector, we're appalled and shocked by the images as well. And it's not some sort of line that we're running. I mean, we are an industry which has the best welfare standards in the world when it comes to the movement of livestock for export. We're one of the world's largest exporting nations. And at the end of the day, we've got to get the animal welfare arrangements absolutely right every single time.
Simon, you say that we have the best standards on earth. Anyone looking at those images would be shocked that you consider that to be world's best practice.
Well, that wasn't world's best practice. That was very poor practice, and we haven't walked away from that. As the industry body, we've called it out. We called it out some time back, and we realised that this journey was a very poor one. Now, the regulator has...
Simon, when you say that you called it out, this wasn't just one voyage. These were 5 separate voyages that we saw, and these were thousands of sheep that died, slow, torturous deaths because of the heat that they were encountering. If you were aware that this wasn't up to standard, why didn't you act sooner?
Well, we have acted as an industry body. I mean, we have acted, and the regulator is acted.
When did you act?
Well, we acted in the last week in terms of calling out the footage.
But this is after the media. This is after the media brought it to your attention. You said you were aware that it wasn't meeting standards. Why did it take you until this became a public relations issue for you to actually take action?
No, that's not correct at all. Last year we made statements around this vessel movement, and yes, the activists have stated that there were 5 movements that the whistleblower looked at. That may well be the case. We're not questioning the whistleblower. We're not questioning the activists. The footage is the footage. And we're not walking away from that. What we're saying is, as an industry, we are a very good industry. We do a lot of good. We set the bar for welfare standards. This didn't meet the bar. It didn't come anywhere near it. And what we're saying is, there's ways that we can move this forward.
But again, Simon, you seem to be indicating that this is a one-off occurrence. Since 2005, the company involved, Emmanuel's, there have been 37 shipments where there's been more than 1,000 deaths of sheep on this journey. The industry has been aware of this as an issue. Why has it taken until this footage was leaked by a whistleblower for you to actually take action?
No, that's not correct. I mean, the regulator, we're one of the most regulated sectors in the Australian economy, and the regulator has the responsibility, based on the standards that are in place, that if breaches occur over and above what is seen as a fair and reasonable bar, they have to be reported.
If there have been 37 shipments where there's been more than 1,000 deaths of sheep, why wasn't action taken by the industry?
No, the industry allows the shipments to occur because it meets the requirements. The vast majority of shipments are going through to the Arabian Gulf and through to the Red Sea with very good outcomes with respect to animal welfare, to meet key markets, to help Australian producers support a $20 billion per annum red meat sector.
But let's be clear, the $20 billion red meat market, this is a very small part of this. It's only $250 million a year. Surely the moral cost of Australia supporting this industry, when it is such a small part of our agricultural output. It no longer makes sense.
No, it's complementary. I'll make the point again with respect to a market such as Qatar, and these are real statistics. 650,000 head per annum and growing at around 10% in terms of live export volumes. You complement that with 650,000 carcasses and growing volumes of around 10%. That meets a market of Qatar, which, as we're well aware, is one of the wealthiest countries in the world, which has significant issues in terms of meeting its protein needs, and it's going to be an emerging and continued growing market. They want both live sheep and they want frozen carcasses.
But just because there is demand for a certain product does not mean that Australia should be providing that product. By that logic, Australia should be still involved in whaling. Surely at some point the moral cost, the ethical cost or the environmental cost becomes too great for Australia to still support that industry.
No, I hear what you're saying, but we're not talking about whaling, we're talking about live sheep exports. And live sheep exports make up a component of the overall market. And we're acutely aware that animal health and welfare standards have to remain at the highest standard.
There have been no fines or licences revoked because of the abuse of these animals. How can you say we have world's best practice when they're not enforced? It's completely toothless, isn't it?
Well, no. Well, the World Organisation for Animal Health and Welfare has said that Australia has the best standards. They're
but they're
saying
not
Us.
enforced. What is the point of having high standards if they're not enforced?
Well, I think the Minister today has made a really strong statement, and I think it's good to see a Minister make a strong statement about trying to ensure that we have the best standards and that they are enforced. I mean, we agree with what he's saying. We're going to work closely with the Minister and the Department, and I think it's best that you've got to continue to look forward. If we continue to look backwards and reflect inwardly, it's not exactly going to resolve the issue, and the trade has to step up, and the trade will step up.
Simon Westaway, thank you for joining The Business.
Thanks for